Hi everybody, welcome to another Q&A session with me. Let's get right to it. I have a question about casting in productions. I just started at a new studio and was cast in some core roles. However, I was auditioning from 4 to 11 p.m. and was one of the 3 selected to try for the principal roles. Is it normal to audition for principal roles and then receive small parts? Is this something I should expect in the future? Well, basically, depending on the company, I'm not entirely sure how yours works, but essentially you're asking if they ask you to audition for principal roles and yet still get cast in smaller ones or vice versa. It really, in my experience, somebody who's in the core can do a principal role, but a principal level dancer will not do a core role. However, if you're in a situation where you're in a youth company or you're all auditioning for every part, just because you don't get your principal role, they still want to cast you. So they're going to give you a smaller part, even though you might be the understudy, even though you might be, you might not have received Sugar Plum, let's say. They still want to put you in the production, so they'll probably let you understudy or give you a smaller role. Also, if you're lower ranked and get to do a principal role, as I've explained to you all in the past, sometimes you still have to do your core parts. When I first danced my first Sugar Plum, I was still in the core, so I had to do snow and flowers and everything, not in the same performance, but I was still given those because I was still a core member. But if you're in a regional company setting or a youth company setting and you don't get a principal role, they're still going to want you in the production, so you probably still will be cast in smaller parts. A lot of you have been asking me about reviewing different pointe shoe brands. I really haven't had that much experience with pointe shoes other than Freed and Block. I wore Grishkos when I was younger, but I really don't remember them. That was a million years ago. So I really don't know if I could do a pointe shoe brand review. I will work on it. But again, I'm not as knowledgeable as somebody who's worn every single kind of pointe shoe. Is running good for you when you dance? Doesn't it stiffen you? I don't like to run simply because it gives me shin splints. Some people like running. I really don't recommend it for dancers because it could really tighten your hamstrings. And you really want loose hamstrings. So if you do run, if you like running on the treadmill or you like running, on the normal ground, make sure you stretch your hamstrings a lot afterwards, because otherwise you're really, really going to tighten up and it's going to harm your extension. So yeah, running's fine, just stretch. I'm constantly told to relax and to breathe. However, when I do relax and breathe, I feel like I'm not working hard enough and don't sweat or get sore. When I try to work hard, I tense up again. I don't know what to do. Please help. So I'm assuming when you're dancing, they want you to not be up like this. This is when you tense up and everything gets like this and you can't breathe. So the thing to do is get everything tense and then keep the lift, but relax the shoulders. Then you're still up and you're lifted, but you're breathing. There's a difference between this and this, but breathing, and I'm not up here. So tense everything up and then relax everything, but keep your lift. And that way you still get the tension and you can breathe. And it's all about not holding tension here in the neck and the shoulders. It's people that get like this, that get, relax the neck, relax the shoulders, lift up in the core. The core and the waist is where you want to lift up, but not here. Yeah, so relax this, but lift up here so you're not slumped, and then you should be able to find the balance. I have Nutcracker auditions really soon. Do you have any advice on how to stand out in auditions? I have done an audition video, which I will link up in a card for you guys, but I think the thing about auditions is make sure that you do exactly what they tell you. The exact heads, the exact arms, I've said it before, because that's what they're looking for. Because if you're going to be dancing on stage doing a part that's choreography, no matter what it is, they want to know you're going to do it exactly the way they show you. So if they give a quasi arm and a quasi head, do it. Don't do the other direction. That's something that's really, really important. But also, because you're auditioning for parts in a performance, really dance, smile, pleasant expression, use the music. Don't just kind of do it, because you're auditioning to be on the stage. So treat the class as if you're on the stage, and that'll really help you. When the teacher gives a few minutes to stretch in the middle of barre, what types of stretches would you recommend doing? That's Carson. I always feel like I'm trying to stretch too many muscles and I'm not as stretched. I like to focus on my hamstrings and my hips. So I'll do leg front to the bar, or I'll do leg and attitude on the bar. Because pretty much when the teacher gives you time to stretch, adagio is coming next. So I would do things that are going to help your adagio. So hamstrings and hips. The other thing you can do is anything that's tight that day in class. If you were doing something and you feel something that's tight or not as loose as it is, you can focus on that. That's another option, but I usually just like to do hamstrings and hips to prepare for adagio. It's an excellent question, by the way. Is it possible for a dancer in a company to get demoted, for example, from being a principal to become a first soloist, or skip ranks? For example, a soloist skipping the second and first soloist ranks and becoming a principal. To the first question, getting demoted, no. I have never heard of a dancer ever getting demoted. Somebody would be let go before they'd be demoted. I've never ever heard of that. Now, skipping ranks, absolutely. It's very rare. It doesn't usually happen anymore. It happened, I would say, maybe in the 70s and 80s more so than now. It's possible, but, you know, if the company, like you said, has the soloist category in like 3 categories, like soloist, first soloist, second soloist, it's much more likely that they will skip a rank than in a company that just has core soloist principal. I've never known anybody to skip a rank in a 3-ranked company. It's far more likely in a 5 or 6 ranked company. But it can be done, but it's very rare. Which should a less advanced dancer focus on more, flexibility or strength? That's an excellent question. That's hard to say. I would say whatever your weakness is. Are you more flexible? Focus on strength. Are you more, you're not flexible? Focus on flexibility. Because you need both. It's that push and pull. But you can focus on them simultaneously by doing your class, being as strong as you can, focusing on really building muscles and building strength. But at the end of class, really take time to stretch. That's where a lot of dancers get into trouble, is they don't take the time to stretch after class, and then the muscles do this. So if you're really trying to build your technique, if you're less advanced, figure out what your strength is and focus on your weakness, but you can also really focus on both. Just be as strong as you can in class and then stretch afterwards. A lot of you on my Saut video, which I will link here, were kind of confused about the terms, and I posted an article on Twitter about it. In the American technique, the Saut, that's what it's called, with the développé front grand jeté. In the French technique, a Saut is entirely different. I believe a Saut in the French technique is a pas de chat in the American technique. So that's why some of you were getting confused, is the terminology is different. So a lot of you said you have the terms wrong. Yes, I know in French that might not be the exact word, but in the American technique, a Saut is the big grand jeté développé that the French call it. In the French technique, is something entirely different. So even if you're American but you study the French technique, that's why some of you are confused. I will post that article in the box below for you guys to really kind of see the difference. But I know that caused some confusion, so I wanted to clarify that. I'm trying to catch up, so I'll be put in a class with students much younger than I am in addition to my age group. I am 16 and the others are 11 to 13. How do I deal with the pressure of being the oldest but with the least experience? That's difficult, but I think the thing is to, as hard as this sounds, try not to focus on them. What's great in your situation is that you have the ability to really focus on your technique. Because they're younger, they can be in a totally different world. 11 to 13, the age difference, where you are in your life is very different. So let them do their thing. You focus on you. You focus on, placement and improving. And it's nice because you don't have people of your age group, you can really focus on yourself. So look at it that way. Think, you know what? I know that they're all younger. Whatever, I'm here to focus on me. And it's much, much easier to do that when you're not with people your own age. So try and reframe that in your brain to say, okay, I'm going to focus on me. And that's really the way to go about doing that. Do you think normal and consistent dance workouts at home 6 days a week that you can improve at the same rate as going to a dance studio? I think it's great to do your own stuff at home. I think it's a great additional thing. It will not be the same as going to the studio for two reasons. One is that you need the teacher to see you in person and give you your own personal corrections. Because if it's just you working by yourself at home all the time, you can't really see. You can look in the mirror, but you cannot see yourself as a teacher could see you from different angles while you're turning, for example. So you need a teacher to correct you, and you also need to see, as weird as this sounds, you need to see where you stack up with other people. That's why going to summer courses is a really good idea, because you've been in your home studio with all the same people all year long. When you go to a summer course, you see how you stack up with the best of the best, really. And so for me, I think working at home is phenomenal. Every good thing comes out of that. But if you want to be a professional, you need to be at a dance studio with a teacher and with other students. That's why I say while private lessons are phenomenal, they're a great thing in addition to normal classes. Because you've got to not only see where you stack up with other students, but you've got to be inspired by them and see what they can do. And, oh, I see when she does that. I like that. I want to do that. You know, you've got to be around other people, and you've got to have a teacher to see you in person. I've noticed that when I work out, I tend to get lightheaded, especially when doing stretches like downward dog, but just in general after strenuous exercise too. It always goes away pretty quickly. Is this just a minor issue, or is this something I should be worried about? What can I do to prevent it from happening? That's a very good question. A lot of us, especially, you know, bending forward and coming up, it's like, whoa, for a second. I would check your hydration level. Are you hydrated enough? That people tend to get dizzy when they're not taking in enough fluids. Try that first, see if that helps. If not, maybe check your diet, but if you're eating well and you're consistently hydrated and it doesn't get better, I would maybe look into it. I wouldn't be too worried about it because it's going away. If it wasn't going away, I'd be worried. But I think you might just need to check your hydration level, really. What do you recommend doing to lengthen overdeveloped muscles? Is this a result of poor technique? I would recommend Pilates and yoga. Guys, coming up very soon, I'm going to be collaborating with Brett Larkin, who is a huge yoga person here on YouTube, and she's going to do a yoga for dancers video for you guys. And I'm so excited about it. I'm doing a video for her channel. She's doing one for me. And I think that'll help you a lot. But I recommend yoga, Pilates. Make sure you stretch again at the end of every class. But also, it's not poor technique. It's just you might be developing your muscles in the incorrect way. For example, when you do a développé, are you doing it from underneath, or are you doing it from the top of your thigh? You want to feel the développé comes from underneath and rotating that inner thigh, not jamming that upper thigh as you développé. Back and side, exactly the same thing. Grand battement too, from underneath, not from the top. So just kind of refocus on how you're doing things. It's not bad technique, it's just sort of the wrong way of approaching it in a way. But I would recommend yoga and Pilates. That could really, really help you. Okay, last question. Can you do a video on how to get your middle and normal splits? Yes, I will. I will link for you guys the stretching routine I did for you a while back. In that video, I kind of talk about those splits, but I will do a video just on the splits if you want me to. A lot of you ask me about that, and I think I can really help you with that. Remember, splits are not everything. It's just about having loose hamstrings and loose hip flexors, really. But again, I will elaborate that in another video. You guys ask some amazing questions as always. I wish I could get to all of them. I hope I kind of gave you a good mishmash of things. I will link my other Q&A playlist below for you guys, and as well as every topic listed today, so if you want to skip around again and make it easier for yourselves. If you missed my August favorites, it's over there. So my camera cut out as I was filming. I didn't know until I started editing. So what I was going to say is, it's over there. You can click it to watch. Foam roller video is coming Friday. Thank you so much for watching. I love you all, and I will see you then.